Hey guys, welcome to another movie review. Today I'm talking about the new Gareth Edwards film, The Creator. If you don't know who Gareth Edwards is, he basically directed the 2014 reboot of Godzilla. He also did Rogue One, a Star Wars story for Disney years ago. So he's a very visual director, so I was very excited to see, because I personally really liked his films up to this point. I know he did a small film called Monsters years ago, and I know that had a lot of success as well. But I'm always get kind of excited whenever Gareth Edwards releases a new movie, just because his visuals in his movies are just really, really cool to look at, and he is a really good storyteller in general. I feel there's some things in my negatives that are going to go. Once again, I'll probably cover like I did in my other Gareth Edwards related movie reviews too. But for the most part, I really enjoyed this guy. He really has made really cool films up to this point. So I was excited to hear that he had an original sci-fi movie in mind, which was The Creator. So if you don't know what this movie is, you guys, basically at the beginning of the film, we're introduced to a character that's played by John David Washington, who's Denzel Washington's son in real life, and he's married to this woman, and we really don't kind of know a lot about her, but they live in this fictional country within the movie called New Asia, and through this really bad war that broke out between humans and AI robots, the two of them get separated. They have this bad fight before the two of them separate, and so they kind of don't see each other for a long time. Many years pass, and basically John David Washington gets this opportunity to basically possibly reunite with her again. There's a person that knows about her whereabouts, and so basically, through knowing about the whereabouts, John David Washington takes this mission that he gets asked to do for them, for this government organization. And so during this mission, he basically encounters a small child that's basically a small AI robot, and this child has abilities that other AI robots can't quite do. It's able to basically turn off, turn on, do anything technology related from really far distances. And so I guess for this universe in particular, that's a really revolutionary thing for an AI being to be able to do. And so basically, John David Washington and this AI child go on the run. There's aspects about this child where it could possibly locate where his wife might be, and so that's another reason why John David Washington chooses to hold on to the child while go on the run with the child and things like that. I think the name that he created for her is Alfie at one point in this movie. So they go on the run, and they have to figure out, how to exactly outrun the police and outrun the government, because he's basically betrayed the people that assigned him to this mission. And basically, he has to also, for himself, figure out where exactly did his wife go. Is his wife even still around? There's even suggestions of her being passed away already. And so basically, over the course of this film, you have to figure out what exactly happened to the wife. Where does the AI child fix in? How does the AI child connect and is related and is has a connection to John David Washington over the course of this movie. So these are all things that we get to figure out and find out about over the course of The Creator. But overall, guys, I really enjoyed this movie a lot. There's a lot of things about this that I think are really, really well done, that really kind of display what Gareth Edwards can bring to the table as a director. But there's also some things about it that I think could have been better. I think this is a really well done movie. I know there was some early buzz saying it was the best sci-fi film since Terminator 2, which I personally don't agree with. I think we've had really good science fiction films since Terminator 2. The Creator is definitely one of those movies as well, but I don't think it surpasses or is as good as Terminator 2, like what some of those early reviews were saying. But for my positives and negatives of this movie, though, you guys, I do think this film is an achievement in visual effects. There is a lot of really seamless visuals in this movie that really feel like they blend in with the real environment that they filmed in. I think they did film a lot of this in Asia, if I'm not mistaken. But they really did a great job with making everything feel like it belongs together. Nothing feels fake. Everything feels like these robots could really exist out somewhere in the world and you can go interact with them. So Gareth Edwards did a terrific job making sure his visual effects department spent every possible dollar, because I think this film only costed $80 million dollars. And in a movie department standpoint and with visual effects, that's actually way less than some of these expensive productions cost. Like I think some of the Marvel films can cost up to $200 million dollars. So for them to basically pull this off and to make everything look seamless, I think was quite the achievement. So the achievement in visual effects, I think, is definitely a reason in and of itself to buy a ticket of this movie. They really are very incredible. And I will be kind of shocked if the Oscars don't at least nominate this film for Best Visual Effects, because I think the visual effects are truly that good in this movie. So they really did a terrific job with that portion of this film. There's also a lot of really cool anime influences in this movie. There's scenes where the film's broken up into chapters. Like I think chapter one is just called The Creator, and then I think there's one that's called like The Friend and The Mother and stuff like that. So I love all the anime influences. There's definitely a lot of Akira in this for those who know anything about the Akira anime. There's just a lot of really cool stuff outside of the US influences they took to basically bring this film to life. You could definitely tell Gareth Edwards loves anime, loves things like Dragon Ball Z and Gundam Wing and stuff like that, because there's a lot of those influences in this movie, and it looks really, really well done. Definitely the set design department did a terrific job with this film as well. So I thought all the anime influences that Gareth Edwards chooses to use in this film were also very well done. The film also does depict the dangers and the values of keeping AI around. Obviously, the dangers are if we let them become us, they will take over us. They will become the next humans if we don't do something about that. We have to make sure that they are here to help us, that they are a tool, that they are here to help our lives. But if they become us, if they try to take over us in any way, that's obviously the huge risk of letting AI getting advanced as it is. While the value of AI is, like I said, it is a very helpful tool. It does improve our lives. It's able to allow us to live our lives more freely and more easily if used in the proper way. And so the film depicts both sides of the argument of what is the value of having AI around, but what's also the dangers if we don't keep it under control, keep people protected, make sure everybody's likeness doesn't get scanned. There's actually a small portion of this film that deals with that. Is what would be the danger if everybody's likeness was borrowed or was given, or they were given payment for allowing to a major corporation to use their likeness and stuff, which is a very relevant topic in today's world, obviously too. But I like the value and the dangers that this film depicts of what AI can do for us and what's the dangers of keeping them around too. All the acting performances all around were very good. John David Washington was also in a film called Tenet, which is a film I really liked by Christopher Nolan. And I think his character is actually better written in this movie. I think he's given more to do with throughout the creator than he was more so in Tenet. But all the performances all around, the little girl they found to play Alfie, I thought was very good in this film as well. Gemma Chan plays the wife that John David Washington goes on a search for throughout the movie, and we get to see a little bit more about her in flashbacks and things like that throughout the movie too. All the performances all around. I think Allison Janney plays one of the villains in this movie as well. All the performances were very good. I was very, very happy with all the performances in this movie. The film also asks us as an audience, why are we created? There's a scene where John David Washington and this little girl, they're even sitting on like a bus, and I think this film's even shown in the trailer, and the little girl's asking him, are you going to go to heaven? And he's like, no, because you have to be a good person to go to heaven. And so there's a lot of scenes where characters, including the AI robots, ask, why are we created? What is our purpose for being here? Why ultimately was I born to be this AI robot or be this person or to have this task or to have that job? There's just a lot of big questions that the film asks throughout that I think are very, very well done and kind of ask you, the audience, how you feel about it as well. It's not just giving you the direct answers on those questions. So I do like how the film does ask us, why are we created? Not just for the AI robots, but why are we as people created too? And so I do like that aspect of this film as well. I also like the balance of story and visuals that this film has. I feel like in today's world, either you're really good with story or you're really good with visuals. And I do feel like Gareth Edwards, similar to Guillermo del Toro, is really good with balancing both those things. I think he is good about having really great visuals while having a really great story. And I think that balance for the creator was very, very well handled. For my negatives of this movie, though, unfortunately there are some scenes, and I won't get into too much spoilers here, just because the next thing I have to be careful with, otherwise it would be a spoiler, but there is some crucial information that gets told to us through a kind of unhelpful ways. There's a scene where an injured person has to tell us a crucial plot point about where a character might be at, and it didn't really work for me. It's just one of those situations where either you subtitle the scene so we can better understand what this guy is saying, or you present the information in a different way that's more helpful to the viewer. And unfortunately, there's other moments like that that feel like that. So I do feel like if you're going to have crucial plot points that tell us whereabouts of certain characters, make sure that either it's subtitled if the character's injured and it's hard to bring the information out of their mouth, or to just find a more interesting and better and more useful way to give that information to its audience. Because there is a lot of moments here where, like, my friend and I were turning each other like, wait, what did he just say? So there's just moments like that are really just not super helpful with this movie. There's also some really slow moments throughout the movie. There's a lot of times where the film just wants you to digest kind of everything that's happening, and it's going to slow down to kind of let you do that. I do feel like in those moments, though, we're almost given too much time to digest the information to the point where it's just like, okay, when are we going to pick it up and go to the major plot point and stuff like that? So there is some rather slow moments in the film that I think could have been improved upon as far as pacing goes. I also thought more time was needed with some of our side characters. We get to know a little bit about some of them. There's one that definitely helps John David Washington better understand what Alfie can do, this little AI child that he has with him. But even with this character, that's pretty crucial to us learning more about this main character. There's just a lot of things about some of these side characters that we really don't get to learn about. They're just kind of the evil person or the good person or the best friend of the main character or the close friend of the wife of the main character. And so we really don't get to learn a lot about some of those side characters. And unfortunately, Gareth Edwards does have a habit of killing off characters with important information or importance to the plot. If you've seen Godzilla or Rogue One, a Star Wars story, you know what I'm talking about. So unfortunately, he does kind of keep that trend here of killing off these really important kind of side characters that really could improve upon the story and really move it further along if they just survived the story longer, if just creatively, if they were in the story just a little bit longer. But unfortunately, a lot of these side characters do get sidelined, unfortunately, no pun intended. But I think more time could have been spent with some of those side characters, to be honest with you. I also thought that a lot of the sci-fi elements do feel borrowed from other movies. I don't think it's quite as bad as some critics are making it out to be, but there is a lot of clear references to Terminator, to Minority Reports, to Aliens. There's just a lot of moments. To District 9 is another big one. There is a lot of borrowed elements from other movies that do exist already, unfortunately. So that might bother some people. I know this film is being called original, and it technically is. I personally feel it's original. There's a lot of original things about it. But there is a lot of borrowed elements where people are like, okay, well, that was taken from Terminator, that was taken from that, that was taken from that, and that was taken from that. But for the most part, some people are really going to be bothered by that. I personally wasn't. I happened to notice what those references were and what those borrowed themes and stories happen to be, but some of you might be bothered by that. Some of you that might be going to be like me and not going to be too bothered by it. So I'm going to give The Creator an 8.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed this movie a lot. I think it's a great movie. I really do think it's an achievement in visual effects. I think the visuals are really well done in this movie. Gareth Edwards just did a terrific job overall with this film. Like I said, a lot of negatives along the way. Some things actually, even as him as a director, I think he can improve upon. Maybe don't kill off all your characters right away. I think that would definitely help out your stories a lot. But 8.5 out of 10 for me, though. I highly recommend seeing it. If you like Godzilla, his version of Godzilla, and if you like Rogue One, a Star Wars story, or if you just like how Gareth Edwards makes his films in general, I think this is another great film from him to check out. And like I said, the visuals are truly fantastic in this film. This film is an 8.5 from 10, 8.5 out of 10 for me, and I really liked The Creator. Be sure to see this one.